What if I told you that the secret to inner peace was discovered not by monks in caves, but by emperors, philosophers, and even slaves in ancient Rome? Stoicism is more than a dusty old philosophy. It's a toolkit for life, one that helps you stay grounded in chaos, focused under pressure, and resilient through pain. And in a world that feels increasingly out of control, its lessons are more relevant than ever. Let me show you 5 timeless Stoic principles that will change how you respond to adversity and how you live your life. The dichotomy of control. Some things are up to us and some are not, Epictetus said. This idea is the bedrock of Stoicism. It teaches you to clearly divide the world into 2 categories: the things you can control and the things you can't. Everything else, the weather, other people's opinions, the outcome of your actions, is outside your hands. Here's the trap most people fall into. They obsess over things they can't influence and neglect the one thing they can, their own mind. Imagine this: you send an important email and you don't hear back. Hours go by, then days. You start spiraling. Did I say something wrong? Did I mess up? You begin crafting alternate realities in your head, but stop for a moment. Ask yourself, can I control when or if they reply? The answer is no. What you can control is how you interpret the silence, what you focus on in the meantime, and how you choose to follow up calmly and constructively. This principle is liberating. It teaches you where to place your energy. When you live by it, you stop fighting reality and start mastering your response to it. Memento mori, remember you will die, Marcus Aurelius said. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. Memento mori is a reminder not of death itself, but of life's preciousness. Most people walk through life like they have unlimited time. They procrastinate their dreams, delay hard conversations, and keep waiting for someday. But Stoics knew better. They didn't use death to depress themselves. They used it to sharpen their focus. Think about your typical day. How much of it do you waste scrolling through meaningless content, arguing online, or complaining about things you'll forget next week? Now ask yourself, if I had only a year to live, would I still spend this hour the same way? Memento mori is not meant to paralyze you, it's meant to awaken you, to remind you that your time is borrowed and every decision counts. If you truly understood how little time you have, you'd say, I love you more often. You'd take more risks. You'd stop waiting for the perfect moment and just live. Premeditatio malorum, expect problems. Seneca said, rehearse them in your mind: exile, torture, war, shipwreck. Premeditatio malorum means the premeditation of evils. It's the Stoic habit of mentally preparing for adversity, not to become fearful, but to become resilient. Let's say you have a big presentation tomorrow. A typical person might think everything has to go perfectly, and then panic if anything goes wrong. A Stoic, on the other hand, imagines. What if the projector fails? What if someone challenges me? What if I forget a slide? Then they rehearse how they'll calmly respond to each scenario. The result? Confidence, because they're mentally ready. This practice builds what psychologists now call psychological resilience. It doesn't make you pessimistic, it makes you anti-fragile. You stop seeing problems as surprises and start treating them as part of the plan. Try this tomorrow. Before your day begins, ask yourself, what could go wrong today? And how will I respond with grace? You'll be amazed how much calmer you feel when life throws you a curveball you've already considered. 4. Virtue is the only true good. We are not disturbed by things, but by our opinions about things, said Epictetus. To the Stoics, external success, money, reputation, even health was secondary. What mattered most was virtue, living with courage, wisdom, justice, and self-discipline. This isn't just ancient moralizing, it's incredibly practical. Say you're at work and a chance to take credit for someone else's idea arises. No one would know. You get the praise, the promotion. The modern world might say, take the win. The Stoic says, what would a person of character do? Why? Because the Stoics believe that integrity is freedom. When you live by your values, you don't need approval. You don't need to look over your shoulder. You sleep better. You respect yourself. Seneca once said, a good character, when established, becomes easier to maintain than to recover. If you only ask one question every day, let it be this: what would the best version of me do right now? That's Stoicism, not rules for others, but a high standard for yourself. The obstacle is the way. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way, said Marcus Aurelius. This isn't just poetic, it's transformational. Every person at some point hits a wall: failure, rejection, illness, loss. And the default response is frustration. Why is this happening to me? The Stoic response is different. How can this be used? You get rejected, that's feedback. You lose a job, that's space for reinvention. You face heartbreak, that's fuel for growth. The obstacle doesn't block the path, it is the path. Marcus Aurelius wasn't writing theory, he was a Roman emperor facing plagues, war, betrayal. And even then he chose this mindset. So can you. When something goes wrong in your life, don't just ask, how do I fix this? Ask yourself, how is this helping me evolve? That question can turn pain into purpose. The Stoics lived in violent, unpredictable times. Just like us, they faced uncertainty, loss, and chaos. But they built their lives on principles, not feelings. They taught us, control what you can, accept what you can't, live fully, act with integrity, and treat every challenge as a teacher. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what happens to you, it's about what you choose to do with it. That's Stoicism. That's power. If you liked this video, put a finger up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new useful videos. Good luck, friend, and take care of your mental and physical health.